Hello, this is Simracing Corner, and I'm back again for another chat about the latest beta 7. It's the final beta before the game launches on Tuesday. But first of all, I just want to say thank you to all the new subs who have joined in the last 30 days, who have found me through the Automobilista 2 content. So thank you very much, and thank you for subscribing. And hello to all the Brazilians. Hola, because I checked the analytics and I've had a huge number of, in the last 30 days, which is when I started running Automobilista 2 content, had a lot of viewers from Brazil, and that's a naturally large amount from Brazil, which certainly makes sense of being a Brazilian developer, Reza, and the Automobilista 2 being very much focused around the Brazilian racing. So it certainly makes sense. So hello to all you guys. Yeah, it's bumped some of the other countries that normally be in like that sort of place down the list. But of interest, if you are interested, I don't know why you would be, but my most largest viewer base comes from the US at 13.2%. UK is 11.8, Germany is 6.8, and then Brazil is 6.7. So that's the top four for the last 30 days. Usually, yeah, UK and US are top that scale, and the US is always a larger percentage due to the obviously larger population. But so that makes sense. But hello to everyone though, and I guess Guten Tag to the Germans out there. Hello. Don't know why I get so many German viewers, but it's pretty cool. Thank you. Anyway, I got a bunch of things I want to cover. I made a ton of notes, and that I want to cover. So it's not just about the beta 7 on this one, because the game is coming out on Tuesday. This is the last beta release. There may be some hot fix patches between now and Tuesday, which will come out in the beta, because they have been known to be dropping a few kind of fairly substantial little patches between the betas, particularly between 6 and 7. They released two pretty significant hot fixes. It's so kind of under the, you wouldn't really notice if you just eyeballed it. Most of the things, there's a lot of things to do with the physics of the cars and particular bits and pieces on really much focused on individual vehicles. So they've been kind of focusing their attention on trying to improve particular cars, etc., not just necessarily things across the board. And obviously they got a lot more, they're going to be doing this from in a continuous basis as well. You just expect to see a lot of changes. I'm going to cover AI again today, because I got some really interesting little bits of information which I dug out, which I think you'll find interesting, which does make make something which I've experienced with racing against the AI. It suddenly tells me why there's been problems with the AI and getting that level of consistency correct, balanced across the board, and sometimes within a lot of cars. So I'm going to show you a demonstration as well, what I mean as I talk about it. But what I have done is in my notes. In fact, actually, before I go on, for the changelog, go to the description. It's all there, all the information there. I'm not really going to focus on that because there's nothing really of that that much interest for most people to really go, oh, that's better, well, that's amazing, because there hasn't been like a content dump of new cars or tracks. It's just been bits and pieces here and there. I'll show you this because this is new, at least. You can see there's now a showroom which kind of moves around, and you can just see the cars. That looks nice, I suppose, but that's the only kind of new thing here. There has been more liveries being dropped into the game though, so you may find some of these vehicles now have plenty, although it's a little bit inconsistent, because if you'll go against some other cars and you'll find that, I'm not sure if this one does have a minimal amount of I don't know what I'm doing. Come on, liveries. So that has a few. That didn't have many before, but there are some which still have very limited amount. Like, see, that one only has the stock one there, just yellow. So you'll find that some have plenty and some have very little as it stands. So it is very inconsistent here. I think the stock car has some really nice ones. So that's pretty beautiful. Lots of different options there. So that's going to get padded out over time. They are dropping as they're dropping these updates out. They're some of the things are just adding extra liveries. So yeah, that will be become more interesting over time. Not sure how many they're planning to put in per car, but it's making progress there. But not nothing that's really matters too much. But it's good to know. So yeah, what I wanted to cover is first off, yes, it's coming out on Tuesday. It's going to be early access, and there will be a 40% discount. Right, so the base game price is $49.99 without the discount. With the discount, if you're American, it's going to be that will drop it down to $29.99 in US dollars, which is a pretty decent discount. And for us in the UK, expect it to be about £24.99. If you do if you do like a conversion, it's more like £23 something. But these things get rounded up, so expect it to be £24.99 for the Brits. Anyone else, like in euros and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure you can work out for yourself. I'm just too lazy to do all that sort of thing, all that sort of all those sort of calculations. But yeah, you'll be able to work it out and get an idea of what it will be on Tuesday. It's a hefty discount because it wasn't meant to be in early access. They're basically behind in their development, and early access they stated it should be between 4 and 8 weeks. But obviously that's not no guarantee. It could be longer, it could be less, right? Well, it's not, I can't imagine it'd be less than 4 weeks, but it could drag on beyond 8 weeks if they don't make the progress they want to get to make the game, to get that kind of version 1 out there, which they're happy to deliver and say it's no longer early access. And and it definitely will have to be early access because there's a ton of content not here. And I've made some notes on this, just to give you a bit of an idea. So there's about 10 tracks which aren't featured in Automobilista 2 that were in Automobilista 1. There's also a lot of cars that aren't featured because my understanding was, and I have mentioned this before, Automobilista 1 content, including all the paid for DLC, is coming over to Automobilista 2 as base content. Right, the exception is Hockenheim. That was paid DLC in Automobilista 1. That will be paid DLC in Automobilista 2. I don't know what the prices are. They haven't mentioned anything about that. And that should come out in May. Apparently, and also May is what they've put on their roadmap as when Automobilista is coming out of early access. Okay, so that's what they got on this. Obviously, these things are kind of movable dates. If they are obviously still behind on their other content and having to still trying to get the base game up and running, I don't imagine DLC is going to happen. If they're still working on the game itself, on the base content. So bear in mind, there's going to be some bits there. I'm also going to talk about some of the roadmap information as well, because there's some interesting things I wanted to mention there. And I'll pop up an image now, which shows shows that information about the roadmap. So you can just see that comes from Reza directly. It's not very detailed, but it does give you an indication of what's coming up. So I'll move on to that shortly. But yeah, going back to the cars which are not in Automobilista 2. So we're missing the dirt cars, the drift car. I think there's 1 or 2 models there. The Boxer Cup, which looked to me like a Porsche GT3 class look-alike. I'm not sure if that's coming over because it looks kind of like a rip-off of a Porsche there. I'm not sure if they're going to be putting that into Automobilista 2. Might be a bit dodgy. May not get away with that. So I'm not sure if that's in there, if that's coming over. We have the Chevrolet Montana, which is a 2-door pickup, which was actually really great in Automobilista 1. That was a stock car race class from back in 2012 in Brazil. It didn't seem to last very long, I don't know why, but it is very fun to drive in Automobilista 1. So I'd like to see it in Automobilista 2, but I can imagine it wouldn't be particularly, popular, honestly. The super trucks haven't come over. We've got the Formula trucks, but the super trucks are those just big wheeled pickups, these things with like wheels the size of humans. the tyres, I mean, and so they're not in there yet, and obviously they also have specific tracks as well because they've got jumps in them and stuff like that. Mini challenge, so the minis haven't come over, and I got a feeling they won't be in Automobilista 2 because I think a lot of these things are to do with licensing. Can they afford the license? Is it, you know, are the obviously the car manufacturers want to be involved with the developer as well? So we may not see the mini challenge. Formula Extreme isn't in Automobilista 2 yet. We have Formula Ultimate, but not Extreme. I'm not sure what the difference is. Maybe jet engines or something. Who knows? We have some cars from Puma, which is a sports car manufacturer, but we don't have the GT 2.4 Luminari, which is a pretty cool little car. It's an open top thing. So that hasn't come over yet. We're missing a bunch of the touring cars from Chevrolet, Ford, Mitsubishi, Honda, Renault, Toyota. So that's an awful lot of content that hasn't come in there. But if we look at the the car list here, there is still tons of stuff here. So it's not as if you're left wanting anything. You know, we do have plenty of things to play around with, which is really good. But on a positive note, the fact is maybe some of this content from Automobilista 1 may not come over. Maybe it just doesn't age very well, and it's just things they don't really want, that people didn't really play a lot with, so they're not going to spend their time doing it. But maybe there'll be some things that do come over. We have had new cars, at least 2 new cars that I can tell you about. So the one that came out in Beta 6 was this one, the Rocco, and that's a really great little car, really nice. That's fun to drive around. And we also have the sprint cars, which is somewhere here. Where are you, sprint cars? There you go, sprint race cars. So yep, they're new, and that's a real race series in Brazil. They're pretty cool. So we've got those. So it's not as if they don't bring some content over, it's not like a massive loss because they actually have introduced new content. So yeah, it's fair enough. And also we have a couple of new tracks as well. So we have Jerez, which is a Brazilian track that's new to Automobilista 2, and also Kailami, the South African Grand Prix track. That's completely new. That's great. I think also I'm not sure if we had in AMS1, did we have Monaco? I'm not sure, I can't remember, but that's in here anyway. Also, I think I'm not sure if the Australian one, if Adelaide, is that new? I can't remember now. I should have done my research better, but at least I've mentioned a couple of things. There is new content in here, which wasn't in Automobilista 1 at least. So yeah, this seems to be, it's fair enough. So even if they do not manage to get all of AMS1 content ported over, for whatever reasons, it's fair enough. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is quite interesting, I think, is because if we look at the that roadmap, and you can see it's fairly vague. You just see some, obviously some words here. And one of the things which obviously people might be interested in is the Gt3 and Gt4 pack. But the problem with that, it just says, well, I mean, what's going to be in there? Is it going to be licensed cars, or is it going to be just like Gt3, Gt4 look-alikey cars, which they've just invented? Because it can happen, right? They've done that a lot with all their Formula cars are effectively just based on Formula One, cars, but they obviously changed enough where they can't get sued, so they don't represent obviously a particular brand. So it does have a fairly kind of, if we look at the how they've named it, it's it's very generic, not even Formula One mentioned in it, but all these Formula Classics, they're based on 80s and 90s real Formula cars. So, but obviously they need to be careful about what they're how they design them and how they name them. So obviously they're basing it on the power, the weight, and the features of those cars. Whether or not it has and obviously the tyres as well that change over the seasons with Formula One. Okay, so yeah, what did I want to say? I think I lost my train of thought, guys. What did I have? Let me go for my notes for 1 second. Sorry about this. I had so many of these notes made up that I wanted to cover some. Yes, the GT cars. Right, so went back from I think May last year when Reza announced initially, formally announced Automobilista 2. Every month they put out update logs, just like a little bit of a diary, giving us information on what they've been doing, what's coming up, bits and pieces, and also some screenshots and just video footage to give us a taste of what to expect. And I went through all of those. I found them on BS Simracing news website. I'll put a link in the description because they've tagged everything so you can see all the Reza information and on these different posts. So that's quite interesting. But I've only picked out a few bits what I found really interesting. So I dug through it and I just copied and pasted a few notes in here, and I'll read out the bit about the GT3 cars, which should probably be relevant. It should be relevant to the GT4 cars as well. Let me just find that if I can. Okay, so this is something they published in May 2019. Okay, so I'll just read the paragraph out, and then you'll get to the bit which is interesting. Okay, so packing an even larger roster of diverse cars and tracks than its predecessor, Automobilista 2 will venture further into the best of international motorsports, including prestigious brands such as McLaren and BMW. Right, along with iconic venues such as Brands Hatch and Imola, which we already have, at the same time continuing to explore exotic and exciting forms of motorsports from around the world. Right, so from that itself, they've obviously signed a deal. That's what I say. They've signed a licensing deal with McLaren and BMW, and obviously those two manufacturers have plenty of GT3 and GT4 car models. So, at the very least, those GT3 and GT4 cars for that DLC dropping in June will be those. Maybe they've signed up more, but since then, because obviously this is like a year ago now, but they definitely those look like they are signed off. So that's interesting. And the other thing I want to talk about is the AI. And this is the really important one, which I will demonstrate why I'm still having problems with the AI, racing against the AI. And so read this, and then we'll go on track. Well, I'll read it. So this is AI. This is October 2019. A lot of attention was given to AI this month. One of the main differences versus Automobilista 2 AI is that while the player physics runs on the SMS CETA tyre model, the AI runs on the brush model similar to what we had in AMS1, which was, by and large, the same as the players. Okay, so in Automobilista 1, the AI and the player car physics was the same, or at least the tyre model was the same. Automobilista 2, it's using a different tyre model. And I've noticed this, where it seems the AI cars have an inconsistent amount of grip compared to me going around some corners, and I will demonstrate that soon. Okay, so this is the following paragraph here on the same from October 2019. This means both models need to be developed for each tyre type so that the AI has tyres that match the characteristics and performance of the player, be that on straights and in and out of corners, running cold, hot, under or over pressure, come rain or shine, and over a wide range of difficulty and aggression settings. A lot of variables to fine tune. Right, and I think that's the problem they've got with the AI. Where they do need to, they are having this problem where it has to be tuned on a way, on an individual car and track basis. That's why a lot of these AI races I've experienced seem to be very odd, and which I'll go on to in a moment. Okay, so here we go, and this is the following paragraph. Luckily, we do have quite a bit of experience with similar AI code and this fine-tuning process, and elsewhere in the code. SMS has been very thorough in making AI functions very parameterized, making it easier if some time consuming. if still time consuming, sorry, process to experiment and fine tune the AI to get them to perform, behave and battle as one would like in all conditions. There are still some ways to go to make things work smoothly across the board, but good news, hopefully demonstrated in the previews. Below that we have the resources we need to get the AI as good or even not better than AMS1 already in its initial release. Well, I can't see that happening at this point. And then build upon with new features and try and make the AI racing more satisfying than ever before. Okay, so that's clear to me why things are not balanced, and I'm going to show you now. Because I was kind of considering, is it just me? Am I just terrible at sim racing? And I was thinking, actually, I put hundreds of videos out, haven't I? Maybe not hundreds, but in excess of 100 videos of me racing on different cars and tracks and sims, and surely that can't be right. So what did I pick? I will pick my some demonstration I had before, which I was testing before starting this video. It was the V10s, because at least I'm not too bad at those. And on the track, yeah, that's the right track. So the AI I've set quite low. I can't remember what I set it to. We'll look at it after I finish this, but I have set it quite low because obviously you set the AI strength to cap their speed or to release their speed. So yeah, if you set the AI to 0, they're just going to be super slow anyway, no matter what. But yeah, so it's a kind of scale of their top speed, isn't it, and their ability that way. So watch this, and I'll describe it as we go round. And I picked this track particularly because there's some nice long curves, the high-speed curves, where it demonstrates the difference between me and them on grip levels at speed. So it's not going to be much. We have to wait till the cars space out a little bit, because at the moment I've obviously we can't really tell. But when we get down to these S's down here. It shouldn't take too long before you can see that they are got higher speed than me, and I cannot compete with them. And I can feel it through the force feedback that I messed that up. But let me restart that. Sorry about that. Like I said, you'll see it. You'll see them just basically powering past me. And I'll be quiet when I get to that because I do need to concentrate. I think I've got the AI set to like 45, but you'll see that in a moment. So the straight line speed is fine. We seem to have consistency there, but it's see that fella going flying past. See, that car just flew past me, and there's nothing I could do about it. Yeah, but it's along here where I can feel the car really squirming around, really struggling for grip to keep up with them, and I don't feel like I'm going slow. But the more I try to keep up with them, I simply cannot, because I simply don't have the grip that they do. And you can just see that there in that car on the outside on the right, overtaking me, and there's literally nothing I can do because they have more grip than me, and I'm basically I'm knackered. So yeah, and so that's a good demonstration of that, and I'll show you the AI level I'm set at. See, 35, so that's really low. That is really low, and it's not. I did think, is it me just being rubbish at sim racing before? No, it's not me. It's the game. I can tell. I've done a few tests across a few cars now. I can replicate it again in a different car, which I will do here. So this is one I did try earlier. It's that bad boy, and Gt4. Okay. And offline, and yeah, AI is really important to me because of the videos I put out, and I know it's important to a lot of you guys as well. In my poll that the community poll I published weeks and weeks ago, probably a few months ago really, I had, I think it's 86 votes, and it's kind of split down the middle. There's a lot of you guys that mainly race offline, just like me. So yeah, it's kind of important. I know there's a lot of online guys as well, but it needs to be right. So this is another car. This is nice. This is a car which is a really interesting car. Definitely kind of difficult to get the grip down, and you can feel it through the force feedback really well when the car is squirming around and you're trying to hold any corner. But yeah, as we wait, as we get through maybe lap 2, we can see this happening where the AI just has super grip where I'm not able to manage to hold the same line and speed. And the problem is, if you reduce the AI too much, which you can do obviously to make them slower, they're slow on the straights as well. So it doesn't really help that if you make them slow on the actual corners, you also make them slow on the straights. So it doesn't make it that much fun. You see I'm fighting, I can feel the tyre skipping, which is a pretty cool effect, but you can see they're much more stable than me, and but that wasn't too bad. But as the race progresses, you should see they sort of, they seem to they will be a bit in a better half of. One sec, maybe I can. That's annoying. Okay. There's at least there's a group of cars, so we can maybe see this happening, because you really need to see. Needs to be kind of close up to really see those cars just flying ahead of me when I'm not able to perform in the same way they can. But yeah, it's really hard to find grip. You can just see I'm struggling here, and they just seem to be going in a very casual manner around this track, and they just slowly creep away from me because I cannot hold the same speed as them at a relatively low AI strength. And I see, the problem is, you start pushing harder because you think it's you, and you just end up going slower because you just up unsettling the car. Yeah, so I fully expect this is going to take a long time for them to get all the cars tuned. I mean, look at that! How wide I'm going, and look how easy the AI car is having here, and there's literally nothing I can do. I certainly noticed when I was going around some of these corners when I was testing earlier that I was doing the best I can, and then the cars behind me were shooting past, taking an outside line going past me. That's how different it is, the tyre grip, due to the different tyre models that the AI and the player has. And yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem because this has to be fixed for each car and each track. I mean, that's a huge amount of combinations. That they've got a big job ahead of them. So I think AI racing could be a little bit broken for a lot of the cars for a long time. Some cars will be in a better, be in a better state than others, but I can see this being a little bit of frustration for me in the future, and maybe from other players as well. But bear in mind, it's not you. It's not you. When you set the AI low, and if you're struggling, it's because these tyre models are affecting the playability of your competitiveness against the AI. So I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with your car. It's the fact is they are, the AI just has grippier tyres, and you're just basically you're knackered for until they find a way to sort that out, which is a bit of a shame, really. But and obviously, are they going to be able to fix that in a few days before it comes to launch in early access? No, of course not. So expect that to be a problem for a long time. What else? Is there anything else I wanted to look at here? Da, da, da. Not really, to be honest. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. There is one thing about multiplayer. Actually, again, I picked up from from one of their monthly updates from last year, and they talk about multiplayer, which I'm sure is going to be interesting for a lot of you guys out there. Let me just find the notes. Put myself under a lot of pressure to try and do all these notes beforehand, and then try and be slick with this video. So yeah, it's quite tough. Da, da, da. Okay. Okay, multiplayer. So right now we have multiplayer here, and a couple of things. So this is from if I can find which month this is from. I'm not sure what the dates of this note is from. This may be from October 2019 as well. And there's going to be a dedicated multiplayer tool. So it'll be like a free download. You download from Steam, and you can run that. So if you have, say, a laptop on the side, not your main PC, you could set up a dedicated server to run it on there, so you can eyeball it while you're still racing as well. And so that'll be a separate little bit of software. I think Project Cars 2 has that option as well. You download it from Steam. So it says, yeah, another important milestone has been putting together the AMS2 dedicated tool, so servers can host multiplayer sessions, not necessarily through the game itself. This was one of the main requests we received from leagues, and luckily we were able to rely on SMS to provide us with something that was already over halfway there, and we are now pushing across to hopefully release state in version 1.0. Okay. And also one of the other final things I wanted to mention as well, this is from January 2020. They said, so the DLC packs you saw earlier in the picture for the roadmap. I keep forgetting that word. Roadmap is only really for this year. Potentially there's going to be stuff after that, but they're just giving us a section of what they have plans coming up. So they do say 3 more tracks are already confirmed as subjects or similar DLC packages over the following year. So that'll be 2021. We won't spoil you with surprises, blah blah blah. Feel free to speculate what these may be. So obviously people want Nordschleife, right? It'll also be nice to get some European tracks on there. Some more European tracks, like Spa is obviously a popular one. That'd be a nice one to get in there. And maybe some more American tracks would be also cool. I do like Watkins Glen. I did enjoy that in Project Cars 2, so that'd be one to get in there where I would like. But yeah, so things are moving along, but obviously not at the pace which they had hoped. But early access, at least it's coming out. And it's in a very playable state. So although I have covered some negative elements, I must admit I haven't covered negative elements in this video. There are some very positives. There are new tracks which are new to Automobilista 2. There's new cars. They are working on the AI. Each time they are releasing hot fixes and patches to try to make the AI more consistent, to tie that down, because at the moment it's not broken, but it is annoying. It is annoying that I can set the AI at 35 and I simply cannot keep up with them. And the only way I can keep up with them is if I reduce the AI to say like 20 or something like that, and then they're just not very much of a challenge at all because I just fly past them on the straights. It's no good. Um, and as I said, it's not like exclusive to all cars. I've had some decent races where I felt like it was well balanced, it was well matched, and I found particularly the Delaras. I found them. I had some really good races with the Delaras. And that seemed like I was having. That seemed very well balanced to me. And again, that's off the top of my head. But certainly there's some other cars out there as well. I think the sprint race ones might be quite good as well. But yeah, a lot of the Formula ones, maybe a bit hit and miss. And some of the prototypes, you might have some issues. I don't know. I haven't done extensive tests with every car, so I do understand. I did, just a bit of a sample, and I found the cars I've shown you today are having trouble. I am having trouble with them, just to kind of have the same level of grip as those AI cars. Maybe by changing some of the car setups, you can maybe offset some of that to some degree, but I've always found the stock setups to be very good and stable, so I don't think that is the case. And I did try a few things. I did try changing the downforce, front and rear, to see if I could get more grip around those corners and see if I could be as close to the AI, and that didn't work either. It didn't make a difference to me. Obviously, it changes the dynamics of the car, the bit of the handling, but it didn't give me it didn't give me the speed I needed to get around those corners. It didn't give me the grip. I was still struggling, so yeah, I just so it made no difference in that sense. Yeah, so lots of stuff to do. Obviously they don't have the championship mode in now yet. Is that going to come out on Tuesday? I don't know, possibly unlikely. Time trials, that's not here yet. Is that going to come out on Tuesday? Who knows? Maybe that may be one of the easier things to implement. Championship mode obviously needs quite a lot of work to someone to flesh out and to plan out to make that, to give you a good chunk of the game there. And as fact is, you're going against the AI components, so you're always going to be a massive bloody loser, aren't you, at this point? So it's a bit pointless. But anyway, yeah. Okay, I think that's it really. I don't think I have anything more to say. I will bring out another video on Tuesday when it launches in early access, which will be, I'll just kind of go through it and just see how closely it matches beta 7. Maybe they'll have made progress on some of the AI. I'll test that again to see if I can finally have a consistent race with some of the cars I've raced today and showed you. I'm just not. But yeah, would I say it's worth buying? For me, yes, it is. I still think it's a good game, and but yeah, be wary. There are some problems with it, but understand there's some really good content in there as well. The cars, they do feel really good on the track, regardless of the performance against AI. Driving those cars is a lot of fun. It is very, very engaging. I enjoy it. Some of the cars put a smile on my face because they are just fun to drive. They just feel great. So don't pick out all the negatives. It's fair to critique all the things which are not there. I think that's fair enough, but there's plenty of things which are really good. And come Tuesday, I will I'll be a bit more balanced in that, because that video will be more about if you haven't seen any of these beta videos, and so I'll critique it on what you have in the base game from the early access from Tuesday, because again, I don't know if beta 7 is going to be an exact replica of what's going to be on sale on Tuesday, but I will find out and I'll put a video out there, and that'll be my final AMS2 talk and drive badly video, and we'll see how I go. I might do. I expect I'll do more of these types of videos in the future. Whether or not it'll be Automobilista 2 or not, we'll see. But really depends on how that develops and what I fancy at the time. But I do really want to get back to some of my regular content, which I have been put back for quite some time. So I will be getting back to my regular schedule. More likely to be 3 or 4 videos a week, not 2 a day, or every day. It's just a nuts amount of work. It's just really been quite an experiment to just see how it goes, and it has been good for the channel. So I have to say it's worth doing, putting myself out for that. And I hope you've been enjoying the stuff I've been putting out. Don't forget to drop comments below the channel. Like or dislike this video. I know probably the individual who dislikes every AMS2 video. I don't care. Drop your comments below the video. It's good to hear what your feedback will be, especially if you've got the beta. Let me know the things you're liking with it. Let me know the things you don't like with it. Because it's a balance of two things. I'd say personally, there's more good things than bad things. But the AI focus is because I race against AI. And therefore, it's something which I'm very sensitive to, observing. And therefore, I put a special effort into that because I just feel reasonably well, have reasonably well understanding what to expect. And that's why I put that out there for you. But lots of things in the game, great, looks good. Force feedback is absolutely incredible. Driving experience is great. Lots and lots of more positives than any negatives, really. 40% discount. That's a good bargain, and and I know the game will improve over time, and I obviously hope the AI will improve over time, and they're able to kind of find the magic sauce to get that sorted, and I know they will try to. So at the very least, I know they're not just going to leave it and just abandon that part of the game and just move on to other stuff. They will revisit it. I'm absolutely sure about that. So any problems we have now, even if it's other things with cars, just the feeling of the cars, or even force feedback problems. Not that there's any force feedback problems, because that feels great. They're going to keep on, plodding on and keep on fixing things, and it may take a bit of time, but it's early doors. It is only going to be early access, so you have to accept it for that. Early access games are not finished products, and that's obviously that. So it's going to be a mix of good things and and not so good things. It's just the way it is. But as long as you can enjoy it, which I have been enjoying it, I've spent probably about 40 hours in Automobilista 2 now, just in the beta. I've spent an awful lot of time going around it, trying lots of the cars, and by and large, I'm loving it. Niggles apart, it's still a great game, and I would say definitely worth it. We'll talk about more stuff on Tuesday and for the launch, so I'm looking forward to that. Hope you are too. And thanks again for watching. As always, stay healthy, 2 meters apart from everyone and all that. Wash your hands, and take care, and happy simming.